all things FSU, Pistols and Pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
The Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV begins right now. There's Ira, there's Corey. I'm Jeff. Thanks for being here, everybody. We appreciate you. And right out the gates, let's just say, yay, sausage.
Well done.
There you go.
Brody.
Boom, 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 boom. We're in. We're ready to roll. Good to go.
If did you guys have any registers over the weekend for Easter? No,
I wouldn't say it was for Easter, but I did have some.
Did you really?
It wasn't in honor of Easter, but yeah, Stephanie made some sausage and eggs, and it was it's always lovely. It's always lovely. It never misses.
That might be the new saying.
Yeah,
it's always lovely.
It always slaps. It always slaps.
No, I like it's always lovely.
Okay, all right.
Had some sausage this weekend, fellas. It was lovely.
It was lovely.
You can get your register sausage too if you go to registermeats.com or in your grocery store. And again, my grocery store's got the whole full complement. I mean, they know what's going on at my Publix.
Yeah, well, your Publix is my Publix.
I know, but apparently some of these other Publixes are struggling.
Half-stepping.
My Publix is struggling. I'll be honest with you. Yeah. They got they don't have the wide array of selection.
I think you go to the same one Littlefield goes to.
Yeah, I do.
And so that's we may have to go make a visit. What if the three of us went and just made a personal visit?
The heavies are coming in here?
And went and talked to the high school cashier and be like, look.
No, we could talk
we start with him first. We start with him and make a scene.
I think we go in quiet early. It's just the three of us and the whispers start. I think the three of them were in here today.
And we're just staring
monitoring the sausage.
We're just staring at the sausage. Just staring at the sausage.
Just stare. It gets caught on the camera.
Yeah.
They see it.
Oh, yeah, we've heard about
about
the Publix cameras.
We know about the Publix cameras, right? And we walk out. We just walk out. We don't say anything. But the message has been sent. It's been sent.
That's
we were
subtle.
staring.
That's very subtle.
Yeah. And then if it doesn't change,
are we like
things don't get better.
Arms crossed?
Yeah.
Like standing there staring at them?
And we could even do kind of a glance and then a look up at the camera and a
glance back. Yeah.
Just a little. We're
going to work on this, guys. We're going to work on this, try to make it happen. But if you're in this part of the Southeast, Florida, up into Alabama and the Carolinas, down to Tampa now, trying to get down in South Florida. I think they're making progress. And then over into Alabama and South Georgia, go to registermeats.com. If you don't live in those areas, you can have it delivered. Sometimes we have a promo code. Maybe if the Noles get a big win in baseball, we'll get a promo code. Maybe we got a spring game promo code if we had a spring game, but
no
that didn't happen.
Game,
we should have a promo code for you being here on time.
Man, you're never gonna let it go.
No, I'd just like to take a shot. He never does anything wrong, so I wanted to take a shot when he did.
Can I tell you something that's awesome? He was here 20 minutes before.
Yeah, I saw.
He was here very early.
What did I say when I walked up?
You're like, can't start without me this time.
Exactly what I said.
Like it's our fault.
Yeah, I know.
Being late last time. I know. Cast blame elsewhere. I got you. But no, I laughed. I said, look at my man sitting here already.
Yeah. Oh, it's never going to happen again.
I like to push the envelope these days. I like to feel the challenge of getting everybody ready with seconds ticking down.
Yeah. But I also needed to prove to myself I could get here on time. I was rattled after last week. I'm not even going to begin.
We were all rattled.
Explain to you the things that happened that led to me being here late last week.
Listen, it's no different than a tough day, at the dish or whatever. You go for 4 with 3 strikeouts, but you're a career 287 hitter. We're not worried.
Yeah.
You're more like a 332 hitter.
However you want to say it.
Yeah.
I mean, the point is,
it's like being a 41-year-old pitcher who's been really good for like 15 years.
We can't start every show with Charlie Morton. We can't do it. We can't do it.
Just 1 year, you can't locate your curveball.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Just
it would be like that.
Yeah.
So this week I'm Charlie Morton. I'm showing up early, trying to make sure.
Snapping it off. Snapping it off.
You saw me outside. I was trying to see.
Snap it off. Let's go. First pitch strike. We're back.
Yeah, sure.
Dugout gets excited. Hey, meanwhile, his team's over here got a public feud already because he's got an inconsistent manager who gets called out by the star player.
Yeah.
All three of them screwed up. The manager screwed up. The all-star screwed up. The bum kid who's been a bust.
Kellenick,
up. Yeah, man, there's been just a bunch of screw-ups, creating problems out of nothing.
And I'll be honest, as a Braves fan, for those that don't know, and why would you? Because this is Seminole Headlines. It's not Braves Headlines, but Kellenick didn't run out a ball that hit off the wall, much like Brady Clark didn't last year in one of his games and got thrown out at second. And he didn't get pulled out of the game. Snitker didn't even. In fact, I think what made Acuna so mad is when Snitker was asked about it.
So he didn't see it.
No, the first time he's like, "Why did you say anything to Kellenick?" Was the question after he got thrown out at second, and he goes, "Should I have?" Defiant. Meanwhile, Acuna did the same thing in 2019. He's a little younger. got pulled from the game immediately. And he didn't do that with Kellenick, and then said he didn't see it till the next day. It's
My
like, man,
favorite
what are you doing?
We do this on Coach Speak all the time.
And so by the way, then Acuna tweeted when he saw that response, he's like, well, I would have been pulled from the game, but I guess Jared's different.
Yeah, no, the whole thing is asinine. But what I laugh about as coaches, just don't do that. Don't lie over and over again. Especially, I mean, he lied the first time. He lied the second time. No, man. That's not it. You definitely saw it.
Well, this could be
100% saw it.
And this could be related to any sports, including Florida State football, Florida State basketball, whatever you want. But like when Snicker comes out and says, I didn't actually see the play until this morning when it was brought to my attention. It's like every Braves fan in the world saw it, but you didn't, and nobody in your dugout, you weren't surprised when your fast outfielder hit a lofty fly ball off the wall that he couldn't get to he couldn't get to second.
You have a bench coach. You have
many people that could come and say that.
Did the Mavericks GM really say that? I didn't realize Luka meant that much to his community?
This is why the Jeff Cameron Show PR firm exists, by the way. Over the years, I just crack up laughing where guys can't help themselves. Jimbo Fisher was this way. Willie Taggart, there's been times Mike Norvell. Like, they don't want to concede that they made a mistake.
Yeah, well, Norvell did it all last fall when he kept talking about how he liked the kids in the locker room and the response that they showed in practice.
Well, with him, though, I don't think it was trying to mislead. I think it's him trying to find a way to connect to these kids. Like, I think he was worried that he was going to lose them completely.
Well, he already had.
Well, but I mean, I think that was. I don't think it was trying to mislead us. I don't think it was defiant. I think it was just
wasn't defiant, but
struggling.
I think what Norvell did last year was like trying to placate the fans and be like, "Hey, they're still good kids.
Yeah,
they haven't given up. They're still trying hard."
Screwed no matter what he did.
Yeah, probably.
I think once it was obvious that they had tuned him out and this team was going to go through the motions, which they did, and then the losses mounted and the team, went through the motions some more. He was screwed and he knew it. And he always looked like a deer in headlights. I'm not saying I feel sorry for him because, hey, don't go 2-10. But I am saying that I don't think there was anything he could have said after these games.
It would have been nice maybe for the fans to see some real anger and not just I'm just speaking like that's what I heard
but
from
you can
fans.
Do that. I mean, how many you can do that every week? You're going to do it only.
Would it matter?
Well, I'm just saying. That's what I'm saying. Like you can
with
do
that
that
context.
when a normal season and you have a bad effort, like there's a reason maybe
when it's an outlier.
Yeah.
When it's not the weekly occurrence.
By Memphis, it was pretty clear this team was cooked. But back to my point, though, I think most of the time with coaches, they're motivated because they're just surrounded by since they've ascended to be head coaches, they've just been surrounded by yes men and people that tell them, they buy whatever they say. Nobody challenges them. So then they go in front of the media and assume I can just say and people are just going to walk away. They're going to believe what I say. And it's like, no, man, people have brains and you can't just say nonsense.
And eyes. They're looking at it. Right. I mean, that's nuts. And there's a camera everywhere. So when a coach says something like Snicker did, which is I didn't see it, they show you the third base angle of him watching it.
Yeah.
Which is what they did the next day after he told everybody he didn't see it. Like, hey, you don't think they're going to have a different camera angle of you watching the play?
And it's not like I'm fired up at Acuna for doing what he did, but it's like, don't lie, Snicker. Don't lie. Who are you protecting?
And also, if the fact that Acuna did it tells you that there's problems. Like, that's not
he's held on to 6 years.
Well, but there's probably other things. It's not a good relationship.
Those two don't have a great relationship is what it tells you. Yeah. Well, hopefully we're not having to deal with that this year, guys. Hopefully we're not listening to Norvell going, oh, here we go. Empty rhetoric. Hopefully we're having meaningful, engaging back and forths this year, and we shall see. I completely understand how it is that spring football is shortened by a tragedy. Clearly never want to be crass and just ignore that. But at the same time, I don't think that was ideal. And now I'm wondering your all's thoughts as we watch some of the kids leave. I'm fine with weeding guys out that aren't going to be a part of a program and part of the solution. But what do we think the window is going to look like for them to bring some guys in? And do you think they'll bring in a bunch of guys, or are they just moving on?
Who was the kid that I haven't tweeted much about all the transfers, but the kid that left yesterday?
Dinas White.
And I just tweet because it was like I should not have. I'm almost 50, guys. I don't remember all the kids on the team. I didn't realize that was a name of a kid on the team.
There's two people on this show who did not realize.
Okay, good.
Hey, so before you got here today, for the pre-show meeting, I walked in and said to Ira, "Hey man, forgive me. I feel bad. I didn't know who Dinas was."
So I didn't either. And I see that he's leaving, and I'm like, well, here's another guy that hadn't done anything. has no relation to the fan base because the fan base never saw him. So I just was, I just basically sarcastically said the Dinaz White era is over
Right.
at Florida State. Just because I was like, man, that's like the 8th one they've had, and it's the 6th one where you don't even know if they can play or what if they should have ever been here.
I said to Ira sheepishly because I thought like I really should know who that is. That I was embarrassed. I got a text from somebody relying on me for information about the team, and they're like, "Hey, man, I didn't know we're losing Dinas or Dinas." And I'm like, "Did he? Is that a typo?"
Yeah, what did you mean to say?
I didn't. Who? Danny?
Yeah.
I was like trying to find what he was trying to say. I thought it was like voice to text, and then
did it have an apostrophe?
Was he in Wu-Tang? Did I? Was he?
Was this RZA? What do you? So I didn't know what he was talking about, and then I was like D-Nas. And then I was like, let me check Warchant.
Yeah, so you saw it, D-Nas.
I was like, D-Nas? I've never even heard of this dude.
Well,
and why are we bringing dudes in that have no chance to play? Way too much of that.
Yeah, so there's been a couple that,
that was kind of my point with that tweet. It's like there's been a few of these guys. It's like it seemed obvious at the time, and it became more obvious that what are they doing here? Why are they here?
Yeah.
Just bodies, depth.
Yeah, I mean, Odell, the defensive line recruiting did not go particularly well in the last cycle, and so they made a couple offers late, and Dinas was one of the ones that they were in kind of late. So
what were we doing?
It's one of those you're hoping, and maybe something hits there, and look, man, best to you, Dinas. Maybe something will happen at your next stop. But I mean, I think if you look at these guys who've left so far, Hakeem's obviously the big name. I think that for most fans is more just kind of a man. That was. There was a couple of big signees under Norvell his first few years, Julian Armella and Hakeem Williams. Like those were the two early one-time 5-star guys that, you were able to land.
Roman Hawk too.
How did it work with Armella?
Not great.
He's hanging out with
he's with UCLA. Yeah, he's with Nico and the brother.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes out there. But I mean, it's so I think that's more of the frustration there is like, man, this guy has, this, and I'm speaking as a frustrated fan, particularly on FSU Twitter. This guy has not signed many 5-star guys, and the ones he have not worked out either. So that then you start saying, okay, is it because those kids shouldn't have been that? If they shouldn't have been that, why'd you sign them? Why'd you spend whatever it cost to sign them? Or did you mess it up? And listen, man, with Hakeem, it could be some of both. And
Hakeem showed up 15 pounds overweight.
He did.
So there was something there that wasn't all Norvell's fault. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just to close the book on Hakeem Williams. And nice guy. Everybody you talk to likes Hakeem Williams.
Yeah.
So this is not personal, as we like to say on our shows, Jeff. You don't say it so much on the JCS. We clarify it a little bit
real
more
personal on his show.
No, it's not personal. I'm blunt, but it's not personal.
But he's a guy who went, he's a part of a bad high school football program and comes to Florida State, needs a lot of development, came in out of shape, overweight.
That's what I like to call it when I let
overshape.
Overshape, right?
Yeah. Corey got undershape.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. But his position coach just got fired. So clearly there's a problem. It's like in your office, if a department head gets fired, maybe that's the reason the people underneath them have not been performing really well. So listen, man, you could give him the benefit of the doubt there, but I also understand if Hakeem Williams was frustrated because he was not pushed out. I think he decided to leave, but I could see being frustrated because listen, man, I signed here. I was a big time recruit. And now 3 years later, what do I have to show for it? And now I might be getting beat out by a freshman, possibly in Javen Boggs. So I can understand his frustration as well. So that's just one. It just didn't work out. That's unfortunate. And I understand it. People will treat it as mounting evidence against Mike Norvell. The other ones, though, yeah, man, that's mostly guys that were just
Aaron Hester,
TJ Ferguson.
Yeah, TJ Ferguson.
It's a lot of guys that might have been in the 2 deep, 3 deep, but not necessarily the difference between wins and losses. So,
yeah, I think the one that hurts the fan base the most, and again, that frustration is with Hakeem Nicks because it was a battle. Williams, sorry.
Who's Hakeem Nicks? He played with
Hakeem Nicks, I think.
Yeah, Hakeem Nicks. That's it. Yeah. But anyhow, Williams. That was a battle to get him, and it was a big deal to get him. And
you had some Noles there to signing commitment day, right?
It was a big to do. And I know the behind the scenes stuff.
Snoop and
Peter Warwick, maybe.
Peter Warwick there, yeah. They all worked really hard, with the battles in and others to try to make sure that they secured. They thought that was going to be an important signing, and Miami was really, really strongly making an effort, over the top effort, to bring him into their class. And so when they were able to win and, do all that it took to win, to see a kid for whatever reason not work out or not get developed, and it's just one more loss over many recently. And in recruiting, even when they were winning, people had concerns. So it just adds to the ledger of the concerns that they have about whether or not he'll ever get it together in recruiting. And
listen, man, it hurts you. And every time you sign a big time player and they don't develop, that becomes fodder for the other schools you're recruiting against.
Absolutely used against you every time.
Yeah.
At least you got Azarie and Farmer, who both should be, I think, taking the first couple rounds.
Definitely,
Azarie will. Yeah.
So Farmer's gonna be close. Yeah.
So I mean, those are both homegrown, developed guys, and Azarie was a big time recruit. Like they got him after Hunter bounced. So.
Yeah, and they're doing well with defensive backs. They've done well with defensive backs the last couple of years.
They always do. They always do.
But again, receivers a position and offensive line clearly are positions where they have not flourished, and so it's another knock against you. But as far as how it affects this season, this team going forward, I mean, Matt Lassere and I were talking about it earlier today that FSU's never been real in the portal era. They've never been real active in this portal window. So to expect them to replace one for one the departures with new guys, that's probably not going to happen.
They probably don't need to either.
And the other part of it is exactly. And part of it, if they do go to 105 scholarships from 85, they've got a ton of walk-ons that they'd like to put on scholarship. Guys we've talked about before, Willie Suarez,
Fielder,
Field,
Specialist kid, yeah.
The what's his name? The other, there's another,
Andre Wadsworth.
No,
that would be cool.
Shevin Smith. I'm thinking all the good walk-ons back in the day.
There's plenty of them, but anyway, the bottom line is they're going to have to. Those guys either have to go on scholarship and be part of the 105 or be sent somewhere else. So there's a lot of those guys they want to keep. So even if they come out of this window,
Cottrell, AJ
Cottrell. That's what I was thinking of. Thanks, man.
Yep.
And also I think the walk-on safety I like too. But yeah, so it's not like they have to fill those spots. They have guys that they want to keep on the roster. So it's not like they have to get back
Christian
to 85.
White.
Christian White could be one. Yeah.
The
running back we like. No, I was thinking AJ Cottrell.
But the thing of it is to me though is
I knew those names. I didn't know Denaz White.
Well,
didn't know Denaz White.
They made more plays.
We whiffed on DNS. No, what I was going to say was that you have some unfortunate signings of the past or guys on the roster that you feel like needed to be weeded out anyhow for a variety of reasons. And if guys are moving on because they weren't going to contribute, it doesn't mean that you sign just to sign. And you can get in trouble doing that, just signing guys that you think, oh, well, we need to grab somebody because we lost somebody. That's not the way.
I definitely think you got to do that at wide receiver, though, right? I think you need a dude, even if you're not going to go sign a Keon. But you need somebody that can play. You need somebody that you think can play because you have no idea what any of these guys are. Like
I think
they know what
Squirrel is.
And they know what
no, those two guys, and then Boggs. I think they like a lot, but he's a freshman that's never played. Elijah Moore's never really done anything. McCoy's never done anything. Cam Fryer's done absolutely nothing because he's been hurt. So BJ Gibson's a baseball player. So your wide receiver depth is lacking.
The room's not good.
I think the top end of the room is fine, but I do think you need some quality depth in case. I mean, what are the odds at Florida State University that your starting three wide receivers are just going to roll through the season unscathed?
The question is there a quality receiver that you could get in the portal?
Well, listen, man, I think then you define what quality is.
Right.
They're not going to get a frontline guy. I don't think they're going to spend that kind of money. So there's a couple guys that they've offered several now that are in the portal. They haven't come in for visits yet, but Florida State's involved with them, who maybe caught 20 passes last year, 25 passes last year. Well, that's probably what you're looking for.
Yeah.
It's like looking for a middle reliever. You're not looking for a frontline ace. You're just looking for somebody to eat innings. And
I don't say don't do it. I'm just saying don't sign to sign.
No,
find quality in the define your terms, right? Whatever that might be within the building. They can decide what that is. Could be 10 catches, could be 25 catches. Right. You can say, well, I like that kid at Western Kentucky, whatever it is. That's fine. But don't just sign a kid because you're desperate to sign a kid because you lost a kid in the portal. I mean, some of those guys needed to go. They needed to weed out a lot of these guys. A lot of the names that we've mentioned so far are guys that were never going to play here. And they weren't going to play here this year either.
But people are so mad that they turn that into, well, why'd you sign him? It's like, look, every team in the country signed. Jimbo
Yeah.
Fisher would say, everybody thinks was the end all be all for great recruiting. He would say, man, you kind of want to go 50%. I mean, like you're not going to hit on every, just like the NFL draft. Think of the money they spent on the draft, which is coming next week.
It's this week, buddy. This Thursday, buddy. It's in 2 days.
Thursday.
Come on, man.
Think of how many busts are going to be in the draft. I mean, it's just it's none of it's a science.
But it is insanity. Who was the last receiver that Florida State signed out of high school that was worth a blank?
It is hard to believe.
It's incredible. Man. Florida and Miami have had countless guys.
Yeah.
Not that they've been a pipeline to the NFL necessarily, but they get guys drafted. What was Florida State's last guy? Auden Tate was the last guy they signed that got drafted. He was the second to last pick in the draft in the 7th round.
It is very frustrating.
It doesn't make sense.
Yes, and it's been mounting and mounting and mounting. And to Ira's point, even though logically you're 100% right to say, look, it's kind of a crapshoot. You're not going to hit 100%. You might not even hit 70%. But when you're not recruiting well, and then you have guys not hit, and your reputation isn't good in recruiting, and then that happens, it just adds. And
what's crazy is when you think about it, the last guy they signed out of high school that actually produced it all. Well, the two we can say Pokey. He produced.
Absolutely did.
And Tamori and Terry. Tamori and Terry, both of those guys were from the same school that they didn't even know about until like 2 weeks before signing day.
Yeah.
And those were the last two guys they brought in here that did anything. Let's go, BJ Gibson.
I'm rooting for them all, buddy. They need some home runs here. They need a few kids to hit.
Javon Boggs might be the guy.
Javon.
Yeah.
Should be Javon.
Get it together.
Sorry.
Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
I got some pretty spooky news from my Paul's termite and pest control technician the other day. It turns out that I'm sharing my home with Formosan termites. Those little monsters do damage about 4 times faster than the regular termites. Fortunately, Paul's discovered them on a routine general pest notice, and they've already turned the Formosans back using an amazing treatment called Centricon.
Paul's was the first to introduce the Centricon termite colony elimination system to North Florida and is the leader in this non-invasive treatment. Instead of dumping gallons and gallons of harsh chemicals into our soil, Centricon uses environmentally sensitive treatments loaded in bait stations. These stations are placed around the home. Termites are present, they feed, and take it back to the colony, which is then destroyed. To learn more about Centricon and a free consultation, go to callpauls.com for the elimination of termite or any other pest.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
The best happy hour in the city is at Café de Martín and El Bar. All day, every day, you can find great deals at Café de Martín while enjoying the best outdoor seating Tallahassee has to offer. Sip away on 2-for-1 house wines, chilcanos, and margaritas all day long, Monday through Thursday. Plus 2-for-1 pisco sours and margaritas on Fridays and Saturdays, and 2-for-1 mimosas for Sunday brunch. Come join us at Café de Martín, where every hour is happy hour, in the Esposito Shopping Center on Capitol Circle Northeast.
Whatever you're driving right now, remember it doesn't cost much more to go first class because you can lease either of Infinity's popular luxury SUVs, the QX50 or the QX60, for around $600 a month with less due at signing than you might think. Only at Infinity of Tallahassee.
Enterprises, roofing, construction services. T-FARConstruction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-134. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark Construction.com.
CCC 1331204.
Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the Battle's End. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
Choose Hearth and Patio for custom fireplaces, maintenance, outdoor grills, kitchens, fire pits, lighting, and so much more. Check out all of Hearth and Patio's options online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth and Patio, they keep the home fires burning.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Registered Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Daryl in the chat says he guesses that means that he shouldn't expect much from the receivers this year. And I would just say this, Daryl, I'm not sure that's what we're saying. We're saying they don't have much room for injury. Let's put it that way. I think right now the biggest concern Florida State fans have, and there are lots of them, but I would say about this team right now is they don't have a lot of depth. If they lose some starters at key positions, it quickly becomes very scary. And that is a reason to be concerned.
I also think don't you think in this day and age, that's probably the reality for most teams, not Ohio State and Georgia?
It's going to be hard in 2025 to keep players on your roster if they're not starting.
Yeah, without question.
If they've already got 20 or 25, it's probably why some of these guys who are in the portal are in the portal in the first place, because their current school won't pony up as much as they want. And so they're looking for something else, and they've got a resume that backs it up.
Yeah, so that's part of the problem right now for roster building is if you got a really good player, but he's not ready, if you don't play him, somebody's going to try to snatch him up who wanted him to begin with when they committed to you. And then if you do play them before they're ready, you risk, ruining them or perhaps never seeing this come to fruition and making mistakes. It's a hard balance, but it doesn't mean that they don't have, and where I was going with that is, it doesn't mean they don't have a potential star. Like, for example, Deuce could be a star this year. I really believe that he has an opportunity to thrive in this system where they'll take some shot plays off of certain looks in the run game. And he could be that guy because you don't find too many 6'7", 225-pound dudes that run like he does. So it doesn't mean you won't have somebody thrive. It just means that you don't have a lot of margin for error, A, and B, if you lose people, and there's a lot of guys behind them that have virtually no experience or success rate in college football to this point.
You also rattled off 6-7 guys that are not proven, but could be good players.
Yeah.
They just haven't done it before.
Well,
you don't need them all to hit.
Yes.
You just need one or two of them to hit.
But that's why you also need, you do need, I think, somebody that's proven in the portal that you can go get that can be a fourth wide receiver.
I think if Hakeem had stayed and you only lost Jalen Brown and Jordan Scott, which both were ultimately let go, maybe you need to get a depth piece, but you may not. It's not the end of the world. Once you lose Hakeem, now that's a guy that has played in and started college football games. So you have to find somebody similar to that, but you don't need to go get a superstar. If you were in the thick of the playoff hunt, then maybe you would, but that's not where Florida State is right now. We were talking about last night on the Smash with Tom that, it's almost like if you've got a team making a pennant run, you might go after a big time player.
You would, yes.
But if you're not,
then you'd overspend.
And you'd overspend. Whereas Florida State right now, there's a bunch of players that look like really good players are going in the portal, and Florida State's not involved. And I think that adds to the angst. What are they doing? Why aren't they doing it? And it's like they're going to be looking more for depth pieces than they are going to be for frontline players. That's just across the board. I don't know of any position where they feel like they've got to go out and get a star tomorrow right now. They did that heavy lifting back in December.
And I would point out that, and again, Ira and I were talking about this beforehand, it bears repeating, even though it's a frustrating talking point. I think that you look at it both ways. There is the straightforward, what are they right now? What are they trying to become this upcoming season? And we have that discussion a lot, like the realist, the pragmatic approach. Are they going to win the ACC? Are they going to make the playoffs? Are they going to compete for a national title? The answer to all three of those is likely no. And the result of that answer being no really stops a lot of people from having the follow-up conversation. They say, Well, why not? What are we doing here? What's the point? Why have we lowered the standard to such a level where we can only expect to be average? And then there's a retort. Well, look, it's not ideal, but that's the reality. He went 2-10 a year ago. People aren't flocking to Florida State.
Yeah,
this is where you're at.
They had to overpay for the players they got. Imagine if they tried to go and get some of the best in the transfer portal. I mean, literally, what would you have had to pay?
They're going to be bent over a barrel.
I mean, you just couldn't. It was not possible. So again, this is not a lack of effort. It's not a lack of a financial commitment. It's the reality of coming off of 2-10 with a coach who's going to be on the hot seat pretty quickly if the season doesn't go well, and then having to, you're just not going to get players who have the option to freely move wherever they can go.
But I just think in this day and age, we don't do it much, but people still look at a football program based on what they did the year before, and it's just completely different, man. It's just it's not likely they're going to make the playoff just because it's not likely 90% of the teams aren't going to make the playoff.
Right.
But I lived last season when SMU and Indiana made the playoff
in Arizona State.
And your roster is as good as theirs. You don't have a Scattaboo, but I can promise you they didn't have great depth either. Right. And the Jennings kid was good at quarterback, but not great. So it can be done. There is a thread you can needle, or a needle to thread.
However you want to do it.
Well, your wife's the one that does it.
You can thread the needle.
You could thread the needle and make and have a special season.
You could
maybe
needle
not
thread though if you wanted to.
Well, you could crochet all of it.
Or if you held the needle down, you could. If you held the thread down, you could jab it with a needle.
I'd rather thread the needle.
We're going to thread some needles here. We're going to thread, but it's weird to say it like in the past tense. I threaded a needle. But you could thread a needle here and have a special season and make the playoffs. Things have to break extremely well.
Right.
You have to avoid injury, bad injury luck, bad turnover luck, all the luck. But SMU and even Clemson managed it. Right. Clemson wasn't good for a lot of the last season. Klubnik got good at the end, but they were 9-3 and won the conference and got in. So there are avenues to get into the playoff.
Yeah, now it's going to 12.
This is not a roster that just has no chance to compete.
100%.
So it's not like but what roster do you look at and say that absolutely is a championship roster around the country?
Other than
who? Ohio
State, Georgia.
I mean, okay, everybody else is kind of in the same boat. They have more to build on, but who do you think is going to have a better season this year? Arizona State, SMU, or Florida State, or Indiana? You know what I mean? Like, one season doesn't absolutely mean the next season can't go well, and vice versa, as we found out.
No, it 100% doesn't, because again, we're sitting here fretting about the receivers. I think this offense is going to be like exponentially better than it was a year ago.
It could not be.
Yeah.
Well, it could be, but
it really couldn't be.
Well, it could not be exponentially better. I think it's going to be exponentially better.
Yeah.
How many exponentials?
I would
a couple of exponents.
What?
I mean, listen, man, I just think you go from it's literally the entire offense is different, and now it's players who can play. So that's, I mean, good grief.
Oh no, we're by the way, we're in agreement. I'm saying there's no way it could be worse. There's no way it could be worse.
But that's very backhanded. I'm saying it should be a good offense. I think it should be a good offense.
I'm okay with only backhanding last year's offense, front-handing last year's offense, and kicking it in the stomach.
Of last year's
no,
offense.
I'm not either. I'm just saying, like, when you say it couldn't be worse, that's like saying, well, it's going to suck again. And it's like, no, man, it's not going to suck again.
No, it won't.
It should be. If you went out, listen, man, if you went out and you hired Gus Malzahn to be your offensive coordinator, you went out and you got Deuce Robinson, Squirrel White, two guys who have been proven at elite level programs.
QB that can run.
You got a quarterback that can run, a much better offensive line. If you are not good on offense, then what in the world are we doing here? They'll be good on offense. Will be great? Probably not.
No, I don't think they'll be great. I think they'll be.
But if they can average 30 points a game, which isn't even great in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of middle of the road. That's 2 extra touchdowns a game that you didn't get last year. So you're working from a baseline
to win football games.
You have a legitimate chance. You went into the last half of the season. You went into all those games with no chance. The only touchdown
once
you
the
scored,
other team got 14 points, it was over.
We all saw Miami's defense last year. It was trash. The only touchdown you scored on that team was a botched 4th and 1 QB sneak where the guy busted a 50-yard run.
This is our one moment with Luke.
That's what I'm saying. Like, just having like Gus Malzahn, this offense against last year's Miami team, I am convinced puts up 28 to 30 points. Right. They might still lose. I'm not saying that we're going to win that game, but just you're going to have competence. You're going to have competence, and it's not going to be a dang dumpster fire. So that alone gives you a chance to win games. And if you're in games, yeah, man, I'm not expecting them to win 5 coin tosses, but sometimes good things happen to good people. And Florida State deserves some good things to happen to it. And you win 4 out of your 5 coin tosses. Now you're 10-2, and you're really
10-2.
Well, think about
Look at my man.
Think about 2022.
Woo,
Would that team have been in the playoff if there was a 12 team? There's a 12-team playoff.
12-team playoff there would have been.
I don't think so. Not at 9-3. But if he doesn't throw that pick in the end zone,
teams?
no, you're not going to get a 9-3 ACC team. Isn't with 3 ACC losses, is not getting in the playoff, and they didn't win the conference. But if he doesn't throw that pick in the end zone against NC State, well, then you're 10-2, and that team is in contention for a playoff. And nobody thought going into 2022 that was a playoff caliber team, that was a top 12 team.
No,
so,
they were right.
So you know what I mean? Like there is reason for hope. I don't think it's outlandish hope either. I think it's just looking at the reality of the sport, and nobody knows anything other than Ohio State's going to be really good and Georgia's always going to be good. I don't even know if Alabama's going to be good. I don't. No. They'll have players, but I don't know if they're going to be. I mean, they might lose 4 games. What's Florida? What's Miami? Like we have no idea.
Yeah, I think the teams that are coming off like a bad year at Alabama is a 4-loss season like they had
right now. It is.
Yeah.
We'll see what a bad year looks like under DeBoer.
They could spiral out of control. Right. But I suspect that the mood is different in most of those places because of the season that just took place.
Right.
And that's why it's not wrong of Florida State fans to be a little bit suspect of all of this because we're coming off a 2-10 season.
Oh, yeah,
unbelievable disaster.
I do not. I am continually surprised, maybe a little bit, from people that I know that are rational people. These are not the lunatic fringe who want to fire everybody after every single game. Who rational, normal, diehard Florida State fans who have been like, you know what, man, I just can't pay attention until they start winning games. Like they were so scarred by 2-10 that they're just kind of out right now.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them. But for those of us in this world who pay attention, not just the media, the people that are watching this in April, the people that consume all the content, that care about the whole roster, that knew who Dean Ass White was before he went in the portal.
Dean Ass.
Is it Dean Ass or Dean Oz?
I never asked him. I never got a chance to ask him.
The great Dean Ass, and we can't even get the name right.
I need to go play those Wu-Tang Clan albums again to see if hear the mentions. But no, those people, the people that care this much and are so passionate, even after 2-10, I think they know that there have been improvements made.
Yeah.
I think it's the people that are not paying attention that are just like, man, because in your world, 2-10 one year means
but then
4-8 the next year. This is a whole different team.
That doesn't compute because it is a whole different team, but also it's the same fan base that just went from 13-0 to 2-10.
Well, I think that's why they were so. They can't believe that. That's why they want Norvell gone, because they can't understand. There's no way feasibly this could have happened if you are a competent football coach.
I don't disagree with that, but I'm saying I don't disagree with that sentiment. But I'm saying, like, you've seen what no fan base has seen the modern day version of college football and how it fluctuates wildly, like Indiana and Florida State fans. I mean, it's crazy what just happened with those two programs within 2 years. So I don't know if that's an anomaly. To me, it doesn't seem like an anomaly. It seems like, except for a very, very elite, everybody's going to do.
Might end up being outliers,
but not.
I agree with you. Michigan's 5 losses might be a normal thing in any given year, fresh off a national championship.
Yeah,
could be.
I didn't mean 2-10 is like the normal.
2-10 and 11-1 are going to be the outliers.
But the point being, like, having a great year to a bad year, or a great year to an average year, I think that's going to be the norm for most programs moving forward until we get a handle on all this nonsense.
David Hale tweeted this yesterday. He said, look back at 20 years of Power 5 stats for every school that had a 6 or plus win year-over-year difference, one way or the other. Over 20 years in the Power 5, there were 27 totally in the 20 years. 5 of them happened last year.
Yeah.
So this could be what's going to happen. I mean, again, I would not bet against Arizona State or Indiana or some of those teams having
regressing. Regressing.
I said last year, in the midst of all of this, get ready for more. It just happens to be that we're an outlier right now, in the sense that we're going to win 2 effing games.
Yeah.
You know, like Michigan losing 5 times fresh off of winning the national title is probably much more the norm.
And beat Ohio State.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. That's crazy. But the point being, they should have probably lost that game if Ohio State had been coached competently at all.
Really strange.
But there were 2 other games they could have lost. They could have gone 5-7 after a national champion. It's a stupid sport.
Well, the way it's being run now, it's completely stupid.
But stay connected for the next segment.
Well, this is a stupid show.
We're still talking about it. People are talking about it every day, regardless of the, I think, almost uniformity and agreement of how poorly run this sport currently is. We're all sitting back going, hey, guys, at some point, anybody, some semblance? Yeah. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Tallahassee Police Department is searching for a suspect after reports of gunfire. Officers found shell casings in the area of South Gadsden Street and Magnolia Drive. No one had been found shot or injured. DPD said they are looking for a suspect, but the department did not provide a description. They believe there is no threat to the public. One person is deceased and 2 others are injured following an Easter morning shooting at the Shy Manor Terrace Apartments in Moultrie. Officers with the Moultrie Police Department responded to a shooting around 1:30 a.m. Sunday morning, which resulted in the death of 22-year-old Reginald Tabor. 2 others, a 16 and a 25-year-old, suffered non-life-threatening injuries. The gunfire started after the suspect and his daughter went to the apartment complex to confront others she had argued with earlier in the evening. The suspect fled the scene, but witnesses helped identify him as Bruce Johnson. He was arrested and is being held in the Colquitt County Jail. This is Rachel Lene with the Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Highs level off around 87 this afternoon under overcast skies, winds out of the southwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight, lows dip down to about 63. A blend of clouds and sun with fog in spots early tomorrow, daytime highs approaching 90. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently, it's 83 degrees.
Ain't nothing but a G-pop, baby.
I am 99% sure that is not how the lyrics go.
Well, you like remixes, right?
Of course.
Well, think of this as a Grassroots Coffee remix per se, because Grassroots Coffee is now in the single-serve coffee pod game.
Dude, those single-serve coffee pods and cups are weak sauce.
Not Grassroots Coffee G-Pods. They have more coffee in them than regular single-serve pods and cups.
Seriously?
And not only do they have more coffee, they have a built-in filter for better brewing. They fit in most Keurig machines, and they are fully compostable.
It's still the small batch, slow roasted coffee you love, so go to grassrootscoffee.com and get your box of G-Pods today.
Baby!
See? Remix!
Well, actually, that's more of an homage.
Grassroots Coffee, locally owned, locally roasted, and made for everyone, loved everywhere.
Grassroots Coffee G-Pods. So very good.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Yeah, it's funny because whenever we go down this road, and I suspect it's going to happen several times over the summer, it's the balance that you're trying to strike between having a conversation that acknowledges the problems and the efforts to overcome that and where they stand in the process, but also have some sort of, basis in reality, but also optimism. It's hard to balance all of it because we all did go through 2-10 last year. We all did see how awful that was. And the same man.
And y'all were in South Bend. Weren't y'all in South Bend?
We were, buddy. Yeah.
That was rock effing bottom.
Oh, yeah.
That was as bad as it's ever been.
I was harassed as I walked out of the
and
stadium.
You deserved it. You were wearing that garnet.
The pregame festivities were pretty fun.
They were fun.
We had a good time.
Yeah. Pregame festivities were good. Yeah, it was tough times. But it's you get the
Chicago's always good though.
I love Chicago.
I've been there many a times for an ass kicking, and Chicago's always still.
Unfortunately, I was at the one previous at Notre Dame,
which wasn't nearly as bad as that one that you just went to.
I was the one before that one, which was probably as bad.
But I also knew every time that I was in Chicago, I was about to witness an ass kicking.
Yeah, and then go back to Chicago.
So Chicago's got a lot.
It's a lot better than going to Ireland for a loss.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, that's true too. Had a good time in Ireland too.
Let's go to some of these locales and win some. That's fun.
How about that Stanford game?
Yeah,
That trip.
let's go.
By the way, Kim's now she's fully. So I'm going, right. And I'm like, yeah, of course. And she's like, well, you didn't sound all that fired up about it. And I'm like, well, of course I am.
So
but
they kind of can't lose that game. Like, don't lose that game.
No.
I mean, I'm excited about the trip, but don't lose.
Unless Andrew Luck is quarterback, you don't need to be losing that game.
Well, you don't need to be losing that game, period, because there's only so many winnable games on the schedule.
What's your first memory of Frank Reich?
My very first memory, the comeback.
The Miami comeback.
So,
the Miami one or the Buffalo Bills one? The Maryland. The Maryland.
Miami.
So the thing about him at Maryland, and this is for our age group, when ESPN came out, like they didn't have a lot of college football.
No, they didn't.
But Maryland, I swear, I feel like was on every week. I saw Frank Reich all the time when he was in college.
They can afford the rights to Maryland. That's what they had.
And they had they would show Notre Dame games like Monday. When ESPN didn't have anything else, they'd show an old Notre Dame game like Monday afternoon when I get home from school.
And
He's
chicks
Alan
exercising on the beach.
Yeah. Oh, all about that. Body by Jake.
Body
by Jake.
I don't know about the Jake.
Yeah, that's not the one we were watching.
Well, I'm just saying, he had girls working out with him.
So let's talk about this. I thought about writing about this, but I'm not sure exactly where I want to go with it. But it is kind of odd that now you have not just Deion Sanders coaching another school in football, but now Charlie Ward coaching FAM in basketball. And I'm not saying Florida State should have hired either one at the time because of what their backgrounds were at the time, but it is strange. Like it's a strange time where two of maybe your two biggest stars all time are now affiliated with other programs.
You could argue two of your 5 best players in program. Well, that's absolutely true.
That's absolutely true. Yeah. It wouldn't be much of an argument.
Yeah.
It's just odd. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I don't think FSU did anything wrong.
Are you saying it's time to bring Deion home?
I'm just saying, no, I'm not. But I'm just saying it's an interesting place you're in now.
Yes.
Where, the two and how do you handle it from a school standpoint? I've talked to some people at FSU who felt like the last couple of years that FSU should have been celebrating Deion because, man, he's why not take advantage of that connection instead of letting the relationship kind of disintegrate, maybe like brag about him and embrace the fact that he went to Florida State. And obviously
I think it was the Travis Hunter. I think it was the Travis Hunter.
I got you. I'm just saying but it's like these, it's almost like a commodity that's wasted.
You
like
see it as a PR opportunity.
Or I don't know, but you have these connections and now not only are you not being able to tap into them, but they're actually at other schools. In Florida State and FAMU, don't have a confrontation. They have a good relationship, but it's just a weird place right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know what your angle would be with it, because what I would say is that wherever a Florida State guy ends up going and succeeding, I'm all right with it. Pretty much. Now, I'm not a fan of Deion personally, but I certainly acknowledge his greatness as a former player and a Hall of Fame NFL player. But he hasn't exactly been good to Florida State since he departed. So I can see why they didn't exalt him. But I would say that, like, if you find a player, Martin Mayhew.
Sure.
I always thought it was really cool that Martin Mayhew had gone on to do great things in the NFL and was well thought of as an executive. And so I didn't think it was odd that he wasn't here or one of us, meaning back at Florida State in some capacity. And if he had gotten hired, let's say, by another university to do some sort of I don't know, GM-ish thing now that
he interviewed here for the GM job or for the AD job when they give it to Randy Spetman.
Yeah, so I would have been all right with that.
Yeah,
I would have been okay with him being celebrated at Texas if he went there or whatever.
This came up to me. I was just weird. Corey and I have talked about this pretty recently. Dawn Staley, it's got to kill Virginia that she's at South Carolina doing what she's doing.
Greatly associated with South Carolina.
People don't know she went to Virginia. It was an All-American there.
And if you're Virginia, it's got to be like, man, that was our resource, and we've let it go. And they were in a similar situation to a degree, different circumstances, but like they had a legendary head coach at the time when they maybe could have hired Dawn Staley. They don't do it. She goes to South Carolina and has an unbelievable career. I guess my thought is, what if Charlie has an unbelievable career at FAM? I'm not, because of the resources and the challenges they have, I don't know that that's going to happen. But what if he did?
Well, then he'd be on your short list to.
Yeah, but I would
when Luke gets the Warriors job
for him, I'd be
definitely
celebrate it.
It's just a weird place. The two of the people that are in your Mount Rushmore for your athletics department are coaching at other schools.
Did you think they should have brought in Chris Winkie to be a quarterback coach or an OC at any point?
I don't know, man. Maybe. I mean, here's the thing. And you get into the tough spot because this is the other side of it is you did hire Lawrence Dawsey, and then you end up replacing Lawrence Dawsey.
Yeah, you did
you
hire
hired
Ron
Dugans, you end up replacing Ron Dugans. So if you hire somebody like a Charlie Ward or something like that, and you have to fire that person, that's not a great day.
Nope.
So there's a give and take to it.
As they say,
I'm
it's
just
not the
saying,
hiring, it's the firing.
You're now in a weird place. I just think it's a weird place.
Yeah, I think I don't think that schools.
Are there other examples of this? Like if Danny Werfel was coaching at Tulane, or if, I guess Kerwin Bell's gone into coaching.
Well, Seton Hall.
He's not at that level.
But Seton Hall would love to have Danny Hurley, but he's at UConn.
He's not that level of player.
Well, he was a starting point guard there for 4 years.
Charlie Ward or Deion Sanders.
Well, I guess not. No. He was a Hurley.
It's just a weird.
Yeah, much of it has to do with timing of everything.
Yeah.
There are times like when Deion first said he wanted to get into coaching, he had been out of football for years as an analyst on the NFL Network.
Yeah, he didn't have a degree.
He didn't have a degree, didn't qualify at all whatsoever. Right. There was no reason to hire him, none. And I'm not sure at the time that they were hiring Charlie Ward. I mean, just the other day, just yesterday or whatever. I'm not sure that he would have been in the thought of many qualified to coach at Florida State basketball.
Yeah,
in terms of his career, what he's done in basketball.
I don't think you're even sitting there saying
I'm not.
They should have. All right, well, clarify that.
My point is, I don't care.
But it's not like you're saying that Florida State should have. They made a mistake by not getting one of those two.
Just saying, we've ended up in a weird place.
Yes, it's a bizarre set of circumstances.
How many schools do you think have players of that caliber?
College football Hall of Famers.
Currently at other schools. It's just a weird thing.
It's probably a good thing. It means you've had a lot of freaking good players.
Well, Charlie's coaching in second best sport. He might be a better coach in football, just like he was a better player.
It means you've littered the job opportunities with Hall of Fame level players, certainly collegiate Hall of Famers and the like. You got
a former baseball coach to coach your baseball team.
They did do that,
and that worked out all right.
That would have sucked if he ended up at Clemson.
Former women's golf coach.
That would have been a real problem.
Golfer who's coaching the golf team that just won the ACC title.
That's correct.
Nails that golf team, by the way.
Admittedly, had they let Link get to Clemson.
That would have been
that would have been a problem because he was qualified.
Well, that guy's a good coach too that they got at Clemson. But it would have been a bummer to be coaching against Link.
Yeah, I think there would have been an outrage with that. But yeah, I think it's always how many times have we watched schools limit their pool by marrying it to a graduate or a former player? We've seen that before where people get mad, like, well, why would you do that? Why would you limit your pool? And then others, obviously there are candidates that are good enough. You would want to do it.
It would have been cool to have Travis Hunter here, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And it's Colorado had two great legends play for them for a couple of years, get to retire their numbers. Deion statues going. They didn't even have a statue for Bill McCartney, who won a national championship there. Yeah. It's not like Colorado's littered with football glory.
It was a bogus national championship,
but they still won it, and they were good. Like they were good for consistently good.
Big scandal,
right? But still, Colorado meant nothing in football our whole lives. They got really good. They've meant nothing since. But the guy that won a national championship there in our lifetimes didn't have a statue up, and they just came out and said they're going to build a statue for him. But it was after Shador was getting his jersey. They announced that Shador was getting his jersey retired, which is very funny. Yeah. That meme going on that says Deion's kid, number 2 on it.
Comical, yes. Yeah. Hour number 2, headliner questions forthcoming. Stay with.
Hey, everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansfornoles.com. That is, again, loansfornoles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Noles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansfornoles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansfornoles.com.
Equal housing NMLS 373031.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Grocery prices are still through the roof. Natural disasters are still devastating, and supply chains are still fragile. That's why millions of Americans are turning to My Patriot Supply, the country's most trusted preparedness company. Right now, they're offering $200 off their best-selling 3-month emergency food kit. This kit feeds one adult 2,000 calories a day for 3 full months. It's packed in sturdy, long-lasting containers with a 25-year shelf life. And best of all, it ships fast and free. But this special offer is only available for a limited time. My Patriot Supply rarely offers discounts this steep, so if there is ever a time to get prepared, this is it. Get ahead of the next crisis. Whether it's a natural disaster, supply chain disruption, or something bigger, you'll be glad you took action. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com to claim your $200 discount. That's MyPatriotSupply.com. Again, MyPatriotSupply.com. Stock up on peace of mind today.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Burt's Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Burt's Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting BurchOrthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Burt's Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee. This is Real Talk 93.3. You're listening to Seminole Headlines with Ira, Corey, and Jeff. Stay tuned for more headlines coming up next. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas.
NFL draft gets underway Thursday from Green Bay. Tennessee with a top pick. They're expected to grab Miami quarterback Cam Ward. He's minus 20,000 to go number 1 overall. Jacksonville Jaguars had the 5th pick of the draft. Ashton Genty of the Boise State Broncos, the favorite to go to the Jaguars at plus 135. Baseball today, Spencer Strider on the mound for the Atlanta Braves. He is a $2.25 home favorite against the St. Louis Cardinals today, while the Rays are a $1.30 dog at the Arizona Diamondbacks. Zach Littell for the Rays. Brandon Fought for the Diamondbacks, minus 155. $250 bonus, and you open up a GBank Visa signature card. Visa.com/GBank. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
When you partner with CDW, your people get more out of technology. CDW AI architects deliver Microsoft services to automate tasks and boost productivity, helping sales reps connect with more customers. Remote teams collaborate seamlessly, and small businesses compete at scale. That's amazing. Make amazing happen. Microsoft and CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/modernwork.
Testing.
We are live from Chick-fil-A.
This is Grant.
And this is Laura.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is that sweet bun.
And that chicken fillet was perfectly crispy and soft at the same time.
And that Smokehouse Barbecue sauce, it's a lot of fun. And the brown sugar bacon definitely had a little bit more pizzazz. Also, the Mac, one of the all-time greats. Man, I'm getting hungry.
Order the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich and a Coca-Cola on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Whatever you're driving right now, remember it doesn't cost much more to go first class because you can lease either of Infinity's popular luxury SUVs, the QX50 or the QX60, for around $600 a month with less due at signing than you might think. Only at Infinity of Tallahassee.
All right, about that time to upgrade my iPad and my Apple Gear. How much memory do I need? What upgrade should I get? What size screen? How many chargers do I need? USB-C, USB-D, mini USB, USB-B, ABC, 1, 2, 3?
If only there was a local business that can guide you and help you understand what you need and get you the best pricing possible. Oh, wait, that's what they do at Mac & More Systems. Get help buying the right gear for the right price and have it shipped directly to their store for pickup, all at no extra cost. That's the kind of service you won't get at any big box store. Shop local at Mac & More Systems. Find out more online at macandmoresystems.com.
Widden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Widden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Widden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
It's time for Seminole Headlines, featuring Warchant.com's Jeff Cameron, managing editor Ira Schofel, and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
Hour number 2, Seminole Headliners. Your questions are coming up. It is Seminole Headlines, like that save, baby. Did you see that? It was impressive.
Well done.
You didn't even have to bring it up. I mean, you just could have let it go.
But I had to praise myself in the moment. It really, I can't help myself. I'm a lot like Dion. I cannot help myself.
Right.
I've got to bring it back to me.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful save. Anyhow, that said, we will get to your questions here momentarily. First, we'll thank Dr. Birch Orthodontics. What else can we say? We've said it a million times. My kids went there. Ira's kids went there.
My
Corey's
step-kids,
kid went there. Kids,
yeah.
It's crazy the amount of connections to Seminole Headlines Dr. Birch has, as well as this community in Tallahassee, where she has given back and performed the best possible work, orthodontist work that is. Birch Orthodontics.
Always amazing work, tremendous. And again, I just feel lucky that we walked in that day. That Kim and I we went for a second opinion because we had a tough case. Our oldest daughter had some tough tooth situation. Tough, I don't know, what do you even call it? Just
mandible,
jaw, the whole thing.
The whole mandible.
But we went to a couple different places, and then we ended up going to Dr. Birch. And literally, sometimes kids know, man. Sometimes kids know before the adults know.
Yeah.
I remember sitting in this room, and just the way that people were taking time with her, the lady that explained how the whole process would work, and then Dr. Birch came in, and she was awesome. And we're like, okay, this is where we're going. And I'll be honest with you, at the time, it wasn't the best choice for us from an insurance standpoint because of our network and all this stuff. But it's like, man, you're sitting here looking at your 11-year-old kid who
got to do the right thing.
And so we ended up going, and it was awesome. And Dr. Birch, the best thing for us at the time, because we needed the help, was she does offer payment plans in the office. So that was huge. Then the work was amazing. And then, look what we've done. Look what we've done. The whole community goes to a Birch Orthodontics.
Well, she's the best in the world.
Yeah, we've already
stated that.
Yeah, we've established that.
Clear. Yeah, it's Charlie says, he comes out taking shots at me. He says, has the statute of limitations run out on the bag of money Jeff got from Nike? Can he just admit that the new logo sucks? It's interesting what goes through people's minds. Like that would be the first question that would get posed by
the new
your
logo.
prompt.
Oh, is he talking about
the Facebook person
from 11 years?
From a long time ago.
Maybe we'll just go back.
I didn't know you were talking about the logo still.
I don't.
Oh,
Never.
okay.
It hasn't come up in years and years and years.
Held a grudge.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually never had a problem with the logo.
Where were you? Where did you stand on the? Because when the logo changed, you were still the Democrat.
I was.
Like we talked.
Yeah,
we were friends.
But I was seething. I was seething.
You were seething, yeah.
Well, my dad was rolling over in his grave. That's not the logo he grew up cheering for. That wasn't Sammy Seminole.
Did you care?
I didn't care. It didn't bother me that much. But I was like,
Corey's camp.
But I also was like, I don't like it as much as the old one. Why did they do this? Why did they do this?
Yeah, no, there was no doubt they did it because Nike told them to do it. I remember.
Well, don't.
I remember Monk Bonasort calling me over to take a look at the what I had a bigger problem with wasn't the logo.
Right.
It was the uniform.
That was
the bigger
the whole
problem.
rollout was not handled masterfully.
No,
the fact that the logo leaked at a Walmart somewhere.
Yeah, that's right.
And may he rest in peace. We all got along with Monk swimmingly,
but
it was. I remember him calling me into the office and saying, "Take a look at this. What do you think?" And I felt bad having to say, That's not the right gold, man. What are we doing? Remember what we wore against Oklahoma State?
And then
what are we
the numbers didn't reproduce on TV.
No,
the lighting in the dome.
That part I hated. I hated all of that.
A lot of problems
I didn't
with
have a
that
problem with the logo itself.
I prefer the old logo.
Sure,
but I like nostalgia.
Yeah. But
what if when Alabama was calling, if Mike Norvell had said, you know what, I'll take $9 million a year, but you got to change the logo back.
Oh, he'd had fans for until the 2 and 10. Then it wouldn't have mattered.
That wouldn't have lasted long.
But it would have been
I got
great.
your logo back.
I got your logo back. Yeah, and he came out and said that, like, look, Alabama wanted me.
Yeah,
I was going, but then I was like, you know what, Florida State fans deserve that.
Let me
old
do the
logo.
right thing by the logo.
Yeah, and now I'm back. All right, isn't everybody happy?
Scott wants to know about Coach Speak. Scott, we do that pretty much during football season, a little bit into basketball season, but it's not a weekly thing.
I actually ran into somebody Friday evening. We went over to the hub to meet some friends, and somebody came over and was asking about Coach Speak.
Because I need some more Artesia.
Oh, you're running low.
Well, I'm running real low.
You got to get him out on the.
I know, and he
this
is.
week.
Okay, well, I'm going to text him because
I've
6
got my
jugs.
water out, buddy. I'm good to go. They still come by.
Yeah, they still with me too. I need to remind them.
Alexa was home for the weekend. My daughter that goes to FSU, she was home for the weekend, and she was enjoying the Artesia water, which she always does.
Who doesn't?
She's moving into a new apartment in this summer, and she was like, "Any chance I can get one of those dispensers?" And I'm like, "You could host a radio show."
Yeah. You could be a wildly famous podcaster.
Put a call in there. It'll be a couple of years, and my son will go off to college. Maybe I get him one too.
Yeah.
Same for you, Corey. Do the same thing. Terry writes, "Good morning, gents. It's what is this? Oh, okay. It's local election day in my hometown. So my question is, if one of you were forced to run for a local office, who would be the best candidate?"
I think it's me.
No.
Jeff's too polarizing.
I'm too polarizing. It would be Ira.
You're probably right.
It'd be Ira.
But I feel like
I don't think any one of us would want to do it.
I would say the stuff that would have no chance of actually happening.
You'd be the
but
populist.
I would get people riled up for it. Like, we are. I'm getting rid of taxes. City taxes are gone. They're gone. If you elect me, they're gone.
Parking tickets are gone.
Yeah,
getting rid of those.
Yeah. You just make stuff up.
I'll explain why it's all dumb. I'll explain why it's dumb that they're playing Alabama, as I always do. Now, is it going to change? No, but I'll still explain it, and I'll get people on board that way.
When we were in middle school, this kid ran for student class president. This kid, Derek Richmond. Shout out, Derek, if you're watching. And his platform was he was going to get a milkshake machine.
Well, that's a hell of a platform.
It was. No chance of actually happening.
No, but it was a good platform.
And I remember thinking, well, that's ridiculous. Who believes that? And, of course, they voted them in.
Oh.
And we did not get milkshakes.
By the way.
It was a good primer to
learn
how politics was going to work.
My biggest platform in this city, obviously, would have been the gas station
Circle
situation.
K's.
But I just saw yes, they're banned, and it's just Wawas and QTs. But the Democrat just tweeted out that there's apparently
there's a
rift
Circle K controversy
against Wawa. It's Circle K versus Wawa, like a rift, but it's like I don't know. I hope Circle K is just admitting that they suck and they're the worst gas stations on earth.
If there is a showdown, I'm going to take the Circle K side because I feel like they're packing.
Well, absolutely. There will be arson.
Corey has inferred that they're a bunch of criminals at the Circle K for years.
Yeah, 100%.
Damning
In
us
the
to
parking
no such
lot.
sponsorship in the history of this.
No, can you imagine me now? Of being like, I was wrong about Circle K.
I only needed to be educated.
Yeah.
I found out later on how wrong I really was. Yeah.
I know I used to call it the circle of death, but that was just a joke. I learned my lesson.
Like walking up with my food, my beverage, and just placing it on the weighted thingy there. It's amazing
it's
how
perfect.
that works.
It's perfect.
Okay, it's outstanding.
Walking through the cigarette smoke.
Nathaniel writes, it's 1 a.m. Central Time, and this is the first comment because it looks like Corey dropped off his prompt around midnight-ish.
Yep. 11:30ish.
This is the sort of inconsistent effort that earned a certain wide receiver prospect a trip out of Tallahassee.
That's right.
Just saying. I saw Ferguson is also leaving. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but my reaction to that one was sort of the Stephen A. Smith "we don't care" meme. Do you all agree?
So I didn't realize it at the time. And when I was on your show, a long segment yesterday on the Jeff Cameron show, Corey.
Never ending.
You might need to go back and watch it.
How meaty are we talking?
Double digits, like over 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Girthy segment. Girthy segment.
Wow. Okay.
It was something to behold.
Try to get your arms around it. It was something. So when we talked about it, I was like, yeah, it's a little, you'd like to have a guy like that in your roster. And then I went back and looked at his PFF grades. And guys, PFF grades,
they're not
the gospel,
but
good grief.
Yeah, he wasn't any good.
My Lord. No. I mean,
maybe he's going back to Bama.
Maybe.
One can only hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, one can only hope. And they start him in this first game against Florida State. Marlon says, good day, gents. It seems that the lack of RDR recruitment, development, and retention has caught up with Mike with the portal being dry. Will he survive this year if he doesn't win 8 games? And he goes on to say he loves the show.
We get this question a lot.
We're going to get it weekly for the entirety of the summer, just so you know.
But again, I would frame it, if they go 7-5, that means that they went 5-5. They went 5-5 against the 10 real games.
I answer it 2 ways. What will the university decide to do, and what my opinion is as to what they should do. So the university, I don't suppose, would fire him at 7-5. I would fire him on the spot at 7-5. In fact, I'd make it abundantly clear now, as we sit here today, Mike, you got to win 8 games or you're fired. End of story.
What if you lose on a hill? Yeah, we're talking about the 1984 Miami team, right? You just brought up Frank Reich. So they lost that game when they were up 30-0 at half. They lost that game. That was also the same year they lost the Flutie game, the Hail Mary game. And they lost another crazy game that year. Like they finished 7-5, but they were really close to being like 10-2. What if they're just, you can see the seedlings. See the seedlings. It can't just be straight up.
Yes, again.
Well,
after 2-10,
the problem is if you look at it from a big picture standpoint, what are we doing here? Like
Thank you.
I mean,
scream it from the mountaintops.
What we are doing here right now is by sticking with Mike Norvell, not paying the $60 million, it's
a lot of money,
and firing everybody in the staff and bringing in a whole new roster. What you're doing there is trying to position yourself that you can have a good enough year this year, whereas conceivably you're back in the hunt like the next year.
Back on track.
Because you don't have to pay top dollar for every transfer. You're going to be closer to getting that SEC Big Ten money. There's going to be revenue sharing. Like this year, the goal is be good enough that you're in position to make a run next year. If you went from 2-10 to 7-5, the question is, can you even do that? Like,
what would you owe him? Here's my counter to that. What would you owe him after next year? Would it be
50-ish? I'm not sure.
Instead of paying him $50 million to not coach, put that $50 million into your roster.
They don't have it.
Well, you
can pay
that. You can pay that 50 over 10 years or whatever. You can in payments.
Well, tell the kids that you're bringing in. We're
not going to get any money here for the first few years.
It's like Shohei.
Trust us.
It's like the Shohei thing. You defer it,
right?
But I know you're not giving them a $50 million lump sum. But that instead of spending whatever that would be,
Bobby Bonilla
$8 million. Yeah. Instead of spending,
you're going to get $1 million a year for the rest of your life.
If you took $10 million a year that you would owe Norvell and put it back into the roster, then I just feel like that as you wait to see where you're going to land, that would make more if it's not a complete dumpster fire.
Look, I'm not saying
like there are some 7-5 seasons that aren't dumpster fires.
Yeah.
It would be gross, and I know you're saying you want to, but you're not in charge of the actual doing.
I prefaced my statement by saying that
you would want to, but you don't know if it would. You don't know if it'd be financially smart, reasonable.
We could argue that another
Win
day.
8 games, Mike. Win 8 games. We're not having this
I think
conversation.
you agree with me.
What if you lose to Florida on a Hail Mary, and that's the difference between 8-4 and 7-5.
And you really have very specific scenarios for this.
I'm almost manifesting that Hail Mary loss to someone this year, by the way.
But it is. I mean, to your point, though, it's a valid point from the standpoint of you've got 3 likely losses. You might have 4 likely losses, and then if you just lose one other game, which happens, now you're at 7-5. And now you've got to blow $50 million and then hire a new coach. So I understand his point, but figure out
there you go. That's the other point. So you have to pay Norvell probably $8 million a year to go away. And what are you paying the new coach to come in? Another 8 or 10? That's $18 million that's going to Jeremiah Smith for 1 year. He's only a sophomore, guys. He might challenge the draft thing, but you go get Jeremiah Smith instead of firing your head coach. Just go get Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, and then you're still paying Norvell at that point because you haven't fired him.
Right, but
you don't have the $18 million to give the Jeremiah.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You're still paying. Maybe Norvell takes. You
win 8 games, Mike. Win 8 games.
Maybe
Mike.
Norvell does pro bono work after a 7-5.
Win 8 games, Mike.
Oh my goodness gracious!
I'm not a capologist.
Win 8 games, Mike. Greg says
win 11, man.
At Warchant staff have single-heartedly got the paint fixed, created luxury boxes, summoned Naughty to the Noles. What do we need to do to get the students courtside at the TLC Double C?
It's a great question. I'm going to go to
annually.
Luke, and I'm going to go to Luke and tell him like this is ridiculous. He was on the team where they got moved to behind the baskets and tell them how stupid it is.
He knows how stupid it is.
Yep. And
I don't think he has the power just yet.
We'll see. We'll see. I think there could be a movement up front. We'll see.
It's a talking point. It gets brought up a lot by a lot of people.
It's preposterous that, like I said, it's not just that the students have the worst seats. Ian, they were showing up in droves for a lot of the good years, but that even when Florida State was good, really good, top 10, those seats behind the benches are half full every game.
The least you could do, the least that should happen, and they did it one time. I can't remember what the occasion was. They did it one time. But if you go to some other arenas, they'll announce like 5-10 minutes into the game.
It was NIT.
Come on down. There ain't nobody.
It was
here.
NIT.
They did it for.
Yeah.
But yeah, they'll announce it a lot. I mean, I've seen they do it at the Dean. Well, in North Carolina, they do it where they'll say, listen, if you can come down to the first level if there are seats unoccupied.
Somebody would have to care. Somebody would have to care over there to make that happen.
Yeah, well,
somebody would.
Yeah,
because it's ridiculous. It looks terrible.
It looks awful.
There are times when the crowd's not as bad as it looks, but as Corey said, the most visible seats are the ones
on television. It always looks bad.
Yeah,
it's a nightmare. I do think that we don't know what Luke's going to do in year one, and he's up against it, but he has hit the ground running. There's a lot of energy. There's an influx of money because of how hardcore he's been in raising it so far. And if they're improved and they play a style of basketball, Ira, like you and I talked about on that girthy segment we did on the JCS, then maybe there's
going to be your nickname now.
Maybe there's even more momentum.
Dr. Girth.
More momentum for them to kind of – because the university hears it. They hear it from us weekly, and they hear it from the fan base.
By the way, did they include the punting stats in what we've gotten fixed? Because we got the punting stats nixed, and the DJ from last year. We got nixed pretty quickly.
And I feel like the lipstick on a pig at Hauser was me.
Oh, 100%.
I yelled about that for years. It's still, they need to do something about the
They
stadium.
did great with the video board at Hauser now. It shows real stats. It doesn't show just the kid's face taking up 3/4 of the screen.
I think it was a Twitter question. He couldn't go through all of our
all of our accomplishments. That's true, unless he paid for it.
But I do want to say that Justin here, to that end, says, can we bring back the white end zones? He feels like that'll solve a lot of the problems.
I don't remember when they stopped doing that. I remember back in the day they were white, and it was confusing to opposing teams if they were in the end zone or not, because the paint would start a yard in.
But it started a yard in.
Yeah.
So you knew the white
there
line.
was the white line there, but most people are always diving for the paint, and you were already well into the end zone.
It wasn't that confusing, but I understand your point.
Yeah.
I remember it.
But I like that look. I wish they'd go back to it.
It was a good look. I'm glad they did the goalpost the right way. Remember when they switched back to the goalpost, the old-timey goalpost?
Yeah.
That's a good look.
We've done some things.
I just got to win some games.
Yeah, just win more than 2, Mike. That's not, double your win total. Everybody will be happy. Just double it.
Back-to-back questions from Sean, not the same Sean, and spelled differently. Sean, my former intern, weatherman extraordinaire, says...
Sean, I ran into him at the ACC tournament.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sean is diehard basketball,
not
by
the
the
ACC
way.
tournament. It was Leonard's final game.
Yeah.
He and some other...
Sean is a diehard basketball guy. Not a question, just rather, I hope you guys are doing well after what was a really rough week. Love the show as always. Thank you, Sean.
Thanks, Sean.
And then Sean, OG headliner, says, what are the positives and negatives of the baseball team having that weekend off? I don't think we can judge that, really. I mean, rest is sometimes always a good thing for guys that need it, but I don't know who did and who didn't. And
It's less pitches for Jamie Arnold.
Right.
That's the only positive I can see.
Yeah.
And we talked yesterday, but just to reiterate Ira and I's conversation, I said to him, and I asked him if he agreed, I don't think they're going to make that series up.
How would they? I don't know how they would
either, right? So
there have been times in the
percentage.
there's been times in the past where they've had like a Savannah State late in the year or something where maybe they could.
But then Virginia would have to have that too,
and they don't.
I did look it up. So Virginia has the home series. Florida State plays at California like 3 weeks from now. I was saying, why don't Virginia host someone? I think they host Miami.
Send that.
Have Miami go to California and Virginia come here and play the series they were supposed to play. I just feel like after what this community and campus, after what this community and campus went through, that was going to be a big time series. It was going to be a fun series. 2 preseason top 10 teams. It's a very important series. It absolutely sucks that Florida State loses a home series for a tragedy that had nothing to do with any of the.
If I'm the Miami coach, I'm not real fired up about another West Coast trip.
Well, I don't care about you, Miami coach.
I understand.
Where the ACC takes care of its own. If we've learned anything. In the last 25 years, the ACC takes care of its elite programs.
Garrett wants to know before we break, gentlemen, what type of season would Tommy have to have in order to get drafted?
Oh,
I mean, I
guess there's Kyler Murray comparisons as far as the size, but he ain't the passer that Kyler Murray was. So I don't know that he would have to make
unlikely.
Yes.
I think it's unlikely. He can be a great college football player. He might. Now, listen, I understand the negative connotations to this because of what happened in yesteryear, but a lot of people are going to look at him and say, well, if he's going to go to the NFL, it's not going to be as a quarterback.
Right.
And that's fine. You could make it as something else. I mean, he's an elite athlete. He might be able to make it as a wide receiver or running back. I don't know.
He would have to look very different as a passer than what we've seen.
Very
He's also small. Like, they're not going to be fired up about that. That's why I brought up Kyler Murray, because he's not big.
But his passing ability
is a little higher than Tom. Just a little bit.
Yeah, and also, even though he is short in stature, he is as thick as they come.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it doesn't seem likely. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
When I get home from work, I'm ready to relax. So I call Swain Pools and Spas and put my pool in the back. I call Swain Pools and Spas. Now I'm soon get up and gone when I want to.
Truckloads of new and used Caldera and Hot Spring Spas are available now at Swain Pools and Spas. Don't wait. Get to Swain Pools and browse the best inventory to find the spa of your dreams. These won't last long, so come see us today. Just look for the huge sign on Tharp Street or call 386-7113 for Swain Pools and Spas.
I know what you're thinking right now. Where can I find a place to get my car fixed and also check out some awesome new hot tubs and spas while I wait? Well, you're in luck. Because when you bring your car or truck in to get serviced at Tallahassee Car Care, it's under the same roof as Swain Pools and Spas for tires, brakes, batteries, tune-ups, oil changes, and all the service you need to get back on the road. Choose the certified technicians at Tallahassee Car Care. Drop by our shop on Tharp Street or visit online at TallahasseeCarCare.com.
The best happy hour in the city is at Café de Martín and El Bar. All day, every day, you can find great deals at Café de Martín while enjoying the best outdoor seating Tallahassee has to offer. Sip away on 2-for-1 house wines, chilcanos, and margaritas all day long, Monday through Thursday. Plus 2-for-1 pisco sours and margaritas on Fridays and Saturdays, and 2-for-1 mimosas for Sunday brunch. Come join us at Café de Martín, where every hour is happy hour, in the Esposito Shopping Center on Capitol Circle Northeast.
T-Park Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-ParkConstruction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-1340. T-Park Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Park. TSparkConstruction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
On the front lines, fighting the insanity of the woke, it's Matt and Brett Oster with America in View.
Matt, Florida has become the world leader for freedom, and I love being in the studio with you every week where we are reinforcing the conservative movement with truth, the Constitution, and a little redneck common sense. We're waking the woke.
That's right, Brett. We enjoy talking politics and what's going on in the world. We're bringing our take on the issues, doing our best to fight for freedom.
So tune in every Friday at 4 p.m. on Real Talk 93.3.
This is a special notice to U.S. taxpayers owing $10,000 or more to the IRS. Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying taxpayers that tax relief initiatives are now available that may significantly reduce or eliminate what you owe. If you're afraid of an IRS lien, levy, or wage garnishment, don't lose hope. You can now take advantage of these current relief programs to end all collections, reduce the amount you owe, and resolve your tax problem. Even if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are already in a payment plan, you may still qualify for significant relief. Struggling taxpayers can now get relief they need during these hard economic times. A hotline has been established by Tax Relief Advocates for you to call and see what you qualify for. They are A+ rated with the BBB and have over 1,000 5-star reviews. Don't wait. Call 800-575-7147. 800-575-7147. That's 800-575-7147, or simply visit TRA.com.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
I'm going to guess that this question is something a lot of guys have thought about. I asked you this both at the start of the show, but Douglas wrote, it's been real quiet on the possible additions from the portal. Should we be expecting to hear some news on that front very soon?
Yeah, and Michael put up a story on the website today that listen, they couldn't host any visits this past weekend with the tragedy, and then they will they've been contacting portal prospects, offering portal prospects. The next step will be visits, and Michael was saying he's hearing that they may have some set up either by this weekend, late this weekend, or early next week. So they will have some, but again, it's probably not going to be a huge influx like there was in December.
Richard says, has FSU lost transfers that they would regret? He doesn't mean right now. He's like, outside of Corey Durden, no one really comes to mind for me. Is that a statement on Norvell's poor development or poor recruiting?
Tell me how to blame him.
It's both.
I mean, yeah, I think it's a better sign than you wouldn't want a bunch of guys leaving. If Hakeem Williams goes and catches 60 balls somewhere else, that would be like, oh, that's a problem.
1,300 yards at Miami and 11 touchdowns.
Right. Most of the guys have left, have not done.
How about what about Trayshawn Ward?
He's close to it, but I don't know.
No, I'm saying you would rather have had him than most of the dudes you were running out there last year. You'd rather have Trayshawn Ward getting carries than Cam Davis.
Yeah, but the problem is you couldn't have kept him till that point.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying that's a guy that you would have looked at last year and been like, oh, he'd have helped this team.
No, you're right. I agree with that. Hey, real quick, we didn't mention it, but Dave in Bardstown had a contribution earlier. Can I read it, or you want to
read it?
Since you guys mentioned Smokey and the Bandit 2 weeks ago, I hate to be that guy, but he doesn't mind really being that guy. He puts in parentheses, not really. But Aslan has not watched it. Will Warchant stand for this or enact Clockwork Orange protocol? I mean, that wouldn't be that bad if we tied him down and made him watch. It's not really the spirit
the eyes open,
of Smokey and the Bandit. Yeah. But what are you going to do about that, Corey? I mean, did he show any desire to watch it? Is it this point where he's just not going to do it?
Is this the thing now?
It's one of those things where like somebody hasn't seen Jaws and they get really excited about telling you they haven't seen it.
Well, they dig their heels in.
Yeah, and they're like, I'm not going to see it now because it's been 60 years. I'm not going to see it, or 50 years. Same with like trying to make it more modern.
Well, here's the problem.
Get Out. That was a really popular movie about 7 or 8. It was a phenomenon 7-8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Coogler director has apparently this movie with Michael B. Jordan is incredible. Mm-hmm. So that maybe that's another one that'll be a classic,
I guess.
But I don't.
Here's the problem: if we were like, nobody's telling you that Smokey and the Bandit is a classic today. Like we go back in our minds to that time that it was awesome.
It was of the time.
That's in a not really good.
Probably, but Jackie Gleason is hilarious in it, and so is his son. Is just hilarious. That's the best part of the movie
Bert's
by
the
far.
Coolest dude in the world. Sally Field is amazing.
It's hot as hell.
Yeah,
it's crazy that like he was such a big star.
Also, the Trans Am is really cool.
Oh my god!
But like he was such a big star. Like people can't fathom how big a star Burt Reynolds was. But he's a bigger star than anybody today. Chalamet, DiCaprio. Because those guys still want to do good movies, and like they won't be greenlit unless they don't just get to say, "Hey, I want to go take a ride with my buddies and film it for an hour and a half." Are we cool with that? No studio would be like, "Well, yeah, Leo, whatever you want to do." But Burt Reynolds, they would even go without plots half the time and just start filming, knowing that people would go see the movies. That's it. He was the biggest star in the world.
Era,
but he was the biggest star in the world for at least a decade, right?
He was huge.
Imagine if he had gone and coached at Tennessee.
Well, yeah, or just did a movie where he played at Tennessee.
Right.
He was a Tennessee football player.
Lawrence writes, good afternoon, boys. I'm looking forward to the upcoming basketball season. Just my minimal research in what Coach Laux is doing with the team has me excited to renew season tickets, to be honest. Your thoughts? Also, what's a story you guys ever had to sit on that you couldn't wait to get out there? Love the show. Yay, sausage.
Real quick on Luke. I went to that booster event last week.
Are you going to call him Coach Laux? Because sometimes with titles, you're very persistent, like President McCullough or President, who is President Barron? You'd always call him President Barron, President Thrasher, Coach Hamilton.
Yeah, it's weird. Like Jimbo,
but he's younger than us, and you covered him as a player. It's kind of weird to then start calling him
it's going to be Luke.
It's going to be Luke.
And his name also works. Like the problem I have with Norvell is I don't like Mike. I don't really like is just a Mike because it could be anybody.
Call him Michael.
Luke. There's only
only one Luke. Yeah,
but at that booster function, a few people came up to me afterwards, and because he spoke, and people just came up to me and said like, "Hey, I'm going to go get season tickets now." Like I didn't do it last year, but I'm going to do it now. You know, there's an excitement around him, so that's going to be positive. I think the moves he's made, you can see what he's doing. As we talked about yesterday on that media segment.
Yeah, girthy.
The other thing that's going to be cool with Luke I really am hoping he really taps into is it'll be the first time since I don't even know, man. The Florida State's basketball coach is somebody that the students can really connect with. Like I could see the stuff like Bruce Pearl has done and people like that. Where I could see Luke connecting with the students, going to the,
Yeah, but if you go to the women's game, Coach, don't take your shirt off and sit in the student
section. He doesn't need to go
dumbass things like Bruce Pearl.
He doesn't need to go full Bruce Pearl, but delivering pizzas to the thing, just stuff like that.
And getting 5 stars is fun too. That's a great way to connect to the students.
And that's not because of Pearl. That's the money they're spending.
Right, but he's bringing them in. They're coming and playing for him. So that would be a nice way to connect.
Story that we've sat on.
By the way, the people that are buying season tickets, if you do happen to buy them behind the benches, show up.
Right.
Show up, sit in them. Please send them.
Well, the problem is, and somebody mentioned in the chat, is that
you can't, right?
Well, they're tied to football.
I know, it's so ridiculous.
A lot of those people come into town for football games.
Yes, they're not coming in, and then they don't sell them, or they don't know.
Games.
There's not a great avenue to
they're
sell them.
They're going to come for the Duke game or whoever.
One of the reasons that I think some of this enthusiasm is building is obviously there was a stagnation over the last 4 years, which is most unfortunate because we all liked Ham. But secondly, I think that with a younger coach and a coach that is hell-bent on connecting to the community and being part of that on the regular, is one of my one criticisms of Ham is he didn't do a lot of community outreach stuff at all.
Luke was at a softball game with Norvell, right?
It's going to be
a couple
really
weeks ago.
important, and Luke understands that, knows it. I was asking him those questions when he was, up for the job, and he was like, "Well, one of the things I want to do, it's kind of part of a platform, if you will. He wants to be involved as much as possible and reach out to folks."
Live Spectator points out that Pat Kennedy connected, by maybe drinking with people at the fourth quarter.
Hey, whatever it takes.
Pre-internet Live Spectator, you could go out there to HA's after a game and have a few Big Daddies. You could. I remember one time saying to Pat, maybe this wasn't the best venue. Like, take it to the fourth quarter and sit at the end of the bar.
You didn't have to worry about who was the I think it was the Iowa State coach that got caught at a party drinking Natty Light. Yeah, Larry Eustace. He was a really good coach too. And he's rolling into
those pictures are incredible.
He's rolling into frat parties, drinking Natty Lights.
Fall down drunk.
Yeah. God bless him.
Not a good look.
Nope.
This is sad. We've all had to deal with it. Chaco McNasty writes, not football related, but my 11-year-old dog Peanut died on Sunday. It's a great picture that he posted of her smelling flowers outside of a window. It's awesome.
Sorry, Chaco.
We had her since she was a pup and devastated me and my family. What's your favorite pet memory? Oh, man, I got a bunch of them. But feel better, buddy, and just remember the years where you gave her all the love in the world and she died that way knowing that she was loved. As far as pet memories, I don't know. If you grow up with pets, you got countless pet memories.
We had one time, we had a dog that we This is a classic. This is probably not what you're going for, Chaco, but in the spirit of the show, I think you'll appreciate it. My mom was a waitress. She worked with a lady who was a waitress that had to move to an apartment where she couldn't have a pet. And she had a big ass Weimaraner. Galley. Beautiful dog. And she's like, "Hey, do you think your kids would want Galley? We lived in a house."
Like, "Oh yeah,
we'd love to have Galley. Galley moves in with us. We've got Galley for about a year and a half. Beautiful dog. The lady shows back up,
wants the dog.
Says, no. She just says, it's Galley's birthday. It's the anniversary of the day I got him. It's the birthday. Do you mind if I take him for a walk?
No.
Peace out. We never saw Galley again.
That's on y'all. I mean, that seemed pretty.
Yeah.
That seemed like that might have been. As soon as you said that, I'm like, she wants the dog back.
9-year-old Ira took.
I bet
took that pretty hard.
I got a question.
I think years later I would have tracked her down.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that hard. Yeah,
I think I would have hurt her. Yeah.
Maybe she's listening today.
Yeah, I hope she's hurt.
So I'm a new pet owner because Stephanie moved in about 3 months ago, and I got cats. And this is I'm going to warn parents now. This is going to be an adult question I'm going to ask these two gentlemen. So if you want to turn it down or not, fast forward a minute.
Or you could ask us off the air. Man.
No. So her cat likes to be in the bedroom, one of them a lot.
Here we go.
And I feel like your dog probably does too, did too.
We've had dogs in the past.
Boundaries.
So how do you, are you,
shut the door.
But if they're already in there, do you kick them out or do you let them watch?
Yeah, we don't let the dogs stay in our room.
Yeah.
Ever?
Really.
Well, he's got a big dog, and so do I. So
the only time
I've heard you got a big dog.
we'll let Nico stay in the room if it's storming because he.
Yeah, Mike and Annie both are freaked out by storms. We'll let.
Well, you're not going to be having relations when it's storming.
Yeah,
you might. Thunder lightning.
Yeah.
Well, I just wondered because it's really weird to me, and so
everybody in the chat, tell us what you do with your animals when you're having relations.
Because I want Olsen out of the room, but sometimes he doesn't get out of the room.
Well, you got to lay it down. You got to say
that's what.
I'm laying it down.
You got to say, hey, hun, cat's got to go. Jerry writes, good afternoon, gentlemen. Do you feel better or worse about the team as a whole now than you did, say, in February?
I'm going to say
I feel better, I think. Ish.
Yeah, probably.
The Denaz White departure
really hit
is a stinger.
We were shook. We
acted like we never heard him. We were so hurt.
Matt is texting me, and I think he's trying to tell me that D-Nas is 3 syllables. D-Nas or something. I don't know.
Okay, well, White. We're going to call him White.
Yeah, that's how you say your name, sir. I got no time.
Yeah, I'm glad you're gone.
D-Nas or whatever.
But yeah, so I feel like, what could have really changed? We saw one scrimmage where they didn't have any wide receivers playing. I did like the way they ran after the ball on defense. I do. Getting to talk to Tony White more and more.
I love Tony.
That makes me feel better about the defense than I already felt. And then just watching that scrimmage and seeing just a pedestrian running back room with no real threat of quarterbacks running. Not a great offensive line because most of them were hurt.
Anything from the scrimmage,
but you could. They still ran the ball. They still moved the ball forward, which is what this offense will be.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm more encouraged. I mean, I'm not blown away, but I'm more encouraged just because there are some guys that you were hoping were going to be something, and they all are.
The Boggs talk is good too.
And Boggs is certainly one there's been a couple unexpected ones I think that are positive as well.
Yeah, and I don't think we were in a good headspace in February, so I'd say, yeah, probably better.
I'm still not in a great headspace.
No, me neither. I'm not going to pretend that I think they're going to be great, but yeah, I don't feel worse.
It's good seeing Maurice at the golf tournament the other day.
Absolutely. Speaking of which, Novel will make you feel better.
It will.
If you want to contemplate the season at hand, why not do so over a cold Novel, buddy?
And we, listen, we're partial to the coffee blonde here. It's called the Morning Ride.
Hey, listen, he passed out one at the tournament that was delicious. It was a sweet one. It was a sour.
He had 4 kinds there.
It was a sour, and I loved it. Now you'd have to have 1 or 2 because it was a sweet one, but it was really, really good. It was phenomenal.
The point is, I mean, they've got a board there with all the different varieties, just like at most craft brewery type places. And it's you've got the IPAs, you've got the stouts, you've got the lager, which is delicious. They had the lager there at that, and a couple people mentioned to me how much they enjoyed it. And it's just up there in South Georgia in Thomasville. They have the tap room there with the patio, which is awesome. And I was really mad at myself last weekend because they had an event there where they had a band outside the patio and everything, and I was excited about it. And then we ended up having stuff to do at the house, so we couldn't make it. But you can make it, go up there, or also other restaurants in Thomasville have it as well. It's Novel Brewing, and it's a delicious beer.
It is, and we used his drive on the whatever hole that was, 18.
Did you?
Yeah,
18th hole.
He ripped it, and what was odd though, he ripped it down the fairway. We used it and we birdied that hole. We didn't have many of them, but we used his shot to birdie the hole because he was driving for people. But then he drove up and was like, "Are you just going to take my ball?" And I'm like, "Well, I didn't know am I supposed to hit it back to you? Like we're 250 yards away, man. Am I supposed to drive it back?" But he was coming up to get other balls too. But yeah, I did give him his ball.
Maurice has got a great sense of humor. He's a sweet guy, and he took it in stride when I outdrove him by 15 yards and pointed at him.
Nice. We actually
you had a team.
Keith and Matt both.
I outdrove everyone on our team.
I think Keith and Matt drove, and I think he was like, "All right, well, you don't need me."
I did it after his because I was like, "Oh, big guy, let's go." It was fun. It was a good time, and he was straight as an arrow. It was straight down the heart. Yeah, nice. It was there. It was nice. Novel is delicious, by the way, and all of the beers they had there, I do want to say,
and they're Noles through and through, Noles.
Go get you some Novel. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Local news now.
A Tallahassee man was arrested after a high-speed chase ended in a crash in Grady County. Lucas Claiborne is facing numerous charges, including felony fleeing or attempting to elude law enforcement, reckless driving, driving while unlicensed. Upon his arrest, police say they discovered Claiborne had outstanding warrants for failure to appear on credit card fraud charges and for probation violations. The Sunday morning pursuit began at 12:30 a.m. when Cairo police tried to stop him on Highway 84 East, but he refused. Claiborne was driving through a 35-mile-per-hour zone at 101 miles per hour as he tried to outrun police. The chase came to an end when Claiborne lost control of the vehicle and crashed into a brick structure at the intersection of Virginia Circle and Highway 84 East. Deputies apprehended him as he attempted to exit the vehicle through the passenger window. It is unclear if Claiborne suffered any injuries from the crash. He was taken to the Grady County Detention Center. This is Rachel Anay with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Highs level off around 87 this afternoon under overcast skies. Winds out of the southwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight. Lows dip down to about 63. A blend of clouds and sun with fog in spots early tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 90. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 85.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
There's no heating and air conditioning.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
So this will be interesting. Let's add it up. Gentlemen, 7 departures so far this spring. How many combined starts would have been in that group, if any?
Ferguson had 7, right?
No,
Which
I
is
think
crazy.
he's saying in this year.
Oh, this year.
Yeah.
You'd hope. I mean, you'd love to, that Hakeem had blew it out of the water and could start 12 games.
Yeah, he hadn't though.
No,
Didn't
he
sound
hadn't.
like that was happening this spring.
No.
That's
So-
not sour grapes. It's just that
No,
it
that's
didn't
reality.
sound like that was happening this
So
spring.
maybe 4 there.
Jalen Brown
For
might have
him.
got a start or two.
Couple.
Between them, I
Maybe
think you say
one.
3.
4.
3 or 4. Yeah.
4 total. from
If
those
you
guys.
had to play Ferguson, it would have been because of one of your starters being out.
But obviously that would happen because it's Florida State. It's going to
Florida
happen.
State,
so
yeah.
that's
Maybe a
3
couple
there.
2 or 3 there.
maybe,
So you're
maybe.
7. We'll say 7. Aaron Hester, no.
None.
D Nass,
D
probably not.
Nasty, probably not.
D Nass out there, man. Damn it.
He's not
Jordan
starting.
Scott, no.
Nope.
Trevor Jackson, no. So yeah, I think
Hey,
you're,
can
you're
we get to the
6
bottom
total.
of the Jordan Scott thing?
I mean, what do you
They
want me to
gave
tell
it a
you?
try.
I want you to tell me why the hell that was the way that it was.
So Jordan Scott was a 6'7" receiver that was not really recruited out of high school.
Correct.
Went to a really terrible junior college. They
There
went
you
1-9 each
It's
of the last
toughie.
2 years.
It didn't even play his
Terrible
first year
junior
there.
college, and had a decent to something. Had some production this past year. Florida State took a flyer because they had lost all the receiver
And
commitments.
also he's 6'7", so you take a flyer on a big body. Okay.
And it did not go particularly well.
Disaster, right?
I think what we saw in the scrimmage we saw where they threw 3 jump balls to him against a 6'1" freshman, and he didn't make any of them.
No, none of those
was I think a Sam.
One of them might have been a DPI.
Could have been.
That's what that from my vantage point. 150 yards away on a catwalk.
From what I understand,
it looked like it could have been DPI.
There were not a lot of bright moments, so it wasn't going well.
But,
and then he wasn't apparently loving the way he was being treated because I think they were like, "Dude, this is not working out," and it just. So the
beauty, though, is it's not a 4-year mistake anymore.
No,
it's a 4-month mistake. Yeah. He's gone.
Took a flyer.
You took a flyer, didn't work out.
I'm not mad about it. I'm just kind of curious, like, because a lot of people were like, hey, we got this 6'7" guy.
Yeah.
What happened?
So real quick in chat, there's a lot of discussion from the Corey's query about the pets and the relations. James B said he has to share this. He has a 100-pound Rottweiler named Cleo. Cleo tends to be very jealous.
Oh, so see?
Cleo leaves the room very slowly, lays down outside the door, and just lets out a huge sigh.
Oh, all right. James B getting after it, by the way. That's good. I was going to say, Cleo, Stephanie's not going to – somebody's going to tell her about this segment, and because she's not listening, so she's going to be like, what are you talking about? As she was when she came home the other day and saw a new Tumbler that said fire in the butthole. And she's like, what in the world is this? Because she hadn't listened to that segment. She had no idea what it meant. So I had to explain the whole genesis of it.
Yeah.
Which is odd. I don't know if you had to do that with your.
No, I did. 2 of my family members want tumblers now.
So
if you guys don't want yours, let me know.
I use mine every day. I actually used mine the other day at the gym, and I set it down and thought that's going to be interesting when somebody says fire in the butthole.
And usually when I bring home stuff that like we're giving or whatever, I'm like, yeah, if somebody wants a T-shirt or something, you can have it.
Yeah.
I'm not giving up.
Fire in the butthole should be part of our merch.
Yeah, we need to.
Yeah, and those in the know will know.
Ken.
Right?
We'll give Ken a cut. We'll give Ken a cut, but most of it should be all going to us.
Anything great in the chat that I didn't get to, buddy? Because I think we're about out of questions here. There's a couple of questions about should Florida State have hired Charlie Ward. We kind of pseudo-answered that already. I mean, I don't really.
I mean, think about like he's never been a college coach, and you're going to hire a high. I know he's Charlie Ward.
He was an NBA assistant.
He was, but that was a
years ago,
while ago. And you, it's just hard to sell.
And
just like Luke wasn't the easiest sell, but selling it's Charlie Ward. We get it, but man, he's been a high school coach for the last decade. And I don't know if they've been any good. Have they?
They won state a couple of years ago.
They did?
They had a loaded team. Yeah. When Charlie came back, part of the deal there at Florida High was they had a group of like the best players in the city were all at Florida High, so it worked out really well. And they're so good. I mean, he's done a good job, and I hope he does unbelievable at FAMU. He's an awesome dude. I love the comments Jeff Van Gundy made the other day just about how, man, and Jeff Van Gundy loved him so much, took him to Houston, and made him assistant coach. But he just said, man, it's Jeff Van Gundy his comment was so good because he's like, whoever those kids are going to be at FAMU playing basketball, they're going to be better off.
And also, if he has a couple of good years at FAMU, there's no reason, if it doesn't work out with Luke, that you wouldn't make a run at him.
He did say at the press conference yesterday that he's not going to use it as a stepping stone.
Yeah,
and so,
he's a rattler.
And it's awesome. There. Yeah, it is awesome from that standpoint because, man, Charlie Sr. was a star.
Yeah, he played
for Jay Gaither. And
really quick, I did find 2 more here, guys, that would work. And I want to make sure I read Panama Noles because he had some nice sentiments here at the outset. Fellas, hope all is well. I'm here in Oklahoma, so I'd like to say to the people of Tallahassee that you're in my thoughts, as are all of you. My question is, do you think FSU will petition to get 2 extra practices in the fall?
Yeah, I mean, it's early to know whether or not they would. Maybe. I guess it goes back to just whether or not you feel like you need them. I mean, I just don't know. You're going to practice 20-something times, and I don't know if they feel like they would need them or not. But.
Why? So I did have this question, and again, I felt bad almost yesterday asking you the question, understanding that it pales in comparison to what just happened. But I thought with enough time going by and, the return to a schedule, why couldn't they have just had the practices later this week?
My theory, and I haven't talked to
Norvell
about it, but I think about like the time frame of what all's happening in the sport. Like the portal's only open till Friday. So if you were to say, okay, well, we can't practice this weekend because I don't think they had an option. I don't think Mike Norvell had an option. The campus was shut down.
No. I got that.
I know, but even if they wanted to, so now, okay, when are you going to do it? Or we're going to try to practice Tuesday and Wednesday, Monday and Wednesday, whatever it is. The problem is you got kids. They have to have conversations with these kids. What we saw yesterday in the portal, these kids going in the portal, like you have to that process was starting. So you're just going to practices with only the guys that you don't have those conversations. That takes time. I think and then they've got to be doing their next step of the process. So now it comes down to like, is it worth it and risking injury? Now you force in a practice that you haven't practiced in 4 or 5 days and you force in a practice and then What if somebody goes down? I just think at some point you're just like, this sucks, but it is what it is.
Plus, I mean, what's the team's mindset after the white news?
Yeah.
I just meant after the white news from yesterday. Yeah. How are they going to
Dinas?
I don't know that they're going to.
So first you have this tragedy and then another tragedy.
Sure. So
yeah, I guess the impression I got when I heard Thursday night and then Friday that it was done was just, it wasn't even like reluctance or frustrated. Like it was just, we have to do
it's
this.
over. Yeah. Tony says, and Tony, I think I'm going to say yes, definitively. Everybody is worried about this. He starts by asking, is anybody else worried about Mike never being able to outrun the 2-10 season? Yeah, man. I think a lot of us are all worried about that. Even with the new staff, recruiting hasn't exactly picked up. Is Mike an anchor right now, or if he wins games, will they begin to come back? Well, obviously, if you start to win games, you become more attractive. I think this is all just self-explanatory. I'm not trying to be debasing.
Isn't it hard to? But this is so unprecedented. Nobody goes from 13-0 to 2-10. It just doesn't happen. So is excited as everyone was last January when he decided to stay and not go to Alabama. Everybody now would be like, man, I wish he'd have gone to Alabama. That's how quick 2-10 changes everything. But 12-1 can flip it right back again, man.
Yeah, they're not going 12-1.
Or a hearty 7-5.
I was about to say thank you.
A girthy 7-5.
Yeah, no, I hear you 100%. And that is a challenge. But they've gone to extraordinary lengths to give him a chance to do it. Like usually, if a coach goes 2-10, 5 years into their tenure,
you're not coming back,
firing everybody, bringing new coaches in, bringing in a whole new roster. This is an unprecedented opportunity for him to do something that has never been done.
Opportunity. It is an opportunity.
He incorporated the Mike Norvell to answer the Mike Norvell question.
Because what he did by bringing in new players, by flipping the coaching staff, it does feel like a new start. And it gives him a chance to have a new start with these players.
Can you lead the press conference, the next one, when we get back there with that question?
Ask him about the opportunity.
Ask him about the opportunity that he has.
In front, and also his ability to show response.
Yeah.
Right.
He gets to show response to a disaster.
And you can't think about last year, Coach, but what an opportunity presented
I think we threw
show maybe how you.
I think we threw now it's a chance for him to respond a few times into some columns last season.
Yeah.
So
but still,
but
wouldn't that be something if they were good? Wouldn't that be something? And it's not incredible. It's not. It wouldn't be.
I want to have that conversation when it happens, guys. Isn't this
something? They're 5-1. Can you believe this?
In the spirit of the question, though, let's play it out. If they were to go 8-4, 9-3 this year, and then kill it in recruiting. Listen, they did finish strong in recruiting last cycle.
Yeah, they went out and paid for some guys.
They did, but they got it done. If you get extra money because of the lawsuit, the way that's going to be changed now, you're going to get paid based on your ratings, your revenue sharing, all of this. Now you can offer more money if you go
more wiggle room, right?
8-4, 9-3.
So the opportunity presents itself.
If that all plays out well, and
2026, you're in the playoff.
2026, you're in the playoff. Then you put together another really good season. Are people still holding to it?
I think the better question is 2026. If they go into the playoff in 2026, are you still holding 2-10 against them? Because my answer is yeah. Screw that. We all live through it. It's not like we can just erase it for our brains. I'll never get those 4 months
there'll
back.
There'll still be a side eye. There'll still be a side eye.
That side eye is maybe in perpetuity.
But what if it's back-to-back playoff type appearances?
Yeah, I think we'll move on for the most part, that the bulk of the conversations will not reflect back on the 2-10 season from 3 seasons prior. But we're all sitting around having a conversation. Right. There's the snide comment that's going to make its way in at some point about,
especially if one of the coaches leaves or both coaches leave.
Well, somebody's going to say right off the bat, hey, feel good about this next year's team. And it's always going to bring you back to when you did feel good about a team that had just gone 12-0 in the regular season and probably went 2-10. They're like, well, I guess.
You know what's interesting about him is you don't know what the anomaly is, because he had a 19-game winning streak, which it's the second longest winning streak in this program's history. And, they beat some good teams. They beat some SEC teams. So he's right in the middle of, okay, was 13-0 in the 19-game winning streak the anomaly?
No,
or is it the 2-10 was the anomaly?
To me, the 2-10 is because,
but nobody. I know you think that.
No, I mean,
but it's not known.
I mean, we have our opinions.
Well, no, but I'm saying, like, in 2026, we'll have much more information to say that 2024 was just an abrupt, nonsensical.
I mean, if you just
disaster.
look at it, how did 2-10 happen? You can pinpoint a ton of things that went wrong. I mean, so it's not as if like it just happened. a bunch of things that they did, a bunch of choices went the wrong way. That's not normal. So
yeah, and it may have doomed him moving forward, but you could still make that point.
But if he doesn't have another 13-0 season, maybe that starts to look like
I just
things
don't
went
think
great.
the success. I don't think I would say was an anomaly. I would say
winning 19 games in a row is hard. I got to give
very, very hard.
All right, boys, say goodbye.
Talk to you next time.
All right, stay tuned for the bonus hour. It's coming up next. Until then, peace.